and drinking all this cherry RC. I don't know how much he drank. He drank like at least a 6-pack. And so
oh my gosh.
I know. So
you had to rush
the next
into the
time
hospital.
I went over to his house, his parents were like, his mom specifically said, we appreciate it when you let him come over to play, but he is not allowed to have cherry RC or any other type of soda pop. And so I can just imagine when he got home, he was like bouncing off the walls till like 3 a.m.
That's horrible.
I know.
That's really bad.
Howdy, Wahid.
I did. Hey, Stealth, I know. I was asking him, Wahid, what exactly is stealth? I don't think he understands what stealth means. I was gonna say something important and now I forgot. What was I just saying?
About old timers?
I was saying something very important.
Uh-huh.
Stop annoying mommy.
Okay, babe, we're alive now. Be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Seriously. You're like the 3 of you. I don't know if I'd ever let you babysit my kids by yourself.
What?
You would. I would make sure that Molly was there.
I would be perfectly fine so long as I had access to cherry RC.
Oh, she said we would be perfectly fine. We would just never listen to him. Okay. Okay.
Now, very interesting. So anyways.
Hi, Brenda.
Are you an airplane buff? Are you a Canadian airplane buff?
Not really. I did watch a couple of those things that you showed me, and some of them are pretty rad. Like, I have to say, that one, I can't remember what it's called. The one that lifts off really easy.
Oh, the Super Stol? Like little tiny airplane?
Yeah, and then it like just takes, it kind of goes like 10 feet and then it just lifts up and then it can like land.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That the reason I was asking, the reason I thought there was Avro, which was a Canadian aircraft company, designed an aircraft called the CF-100 back in the late 1950s. And it excelled. It like beat everything in every category that the Americans had. And then because of political whatever, they canceled it. They just totally canceled it. And that was it. It was done.
Interesting.
It is if you like aircraft.
Okay. Very interesting. I'm using good communication skills. Very interesting.
Right. I can just see you doing that in a job interview. And what do you do in your spare time? Very interesting. Okay. Anyways.
What did you have for breakfast? Did you sleep well?
I did not sleep.
No. You did not sleep well.
Well, actually, I take that back. I slept very well until I woke up and it was hot. So I got up at like 2 a.m. and opened up all the doors and windows because it was at that perfect temperature where it was too cool for the AC to come on, but it was like stuffy, you know, where you have like the weight of the atmosphere in your house like pushing down on you. Like
well,
this.
my husband leaves early, so then the stagnant weight of the atmosphere of his bodily air.
La 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 la. Okay.
Okay, hey, I have a scripture.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
It is Colossians
Uh-huh.
chapter 4. Would you like me to go slower?
Is that possible?
Be all things to all men.
You got a verse for that?
Yeah, got 2 of them.
Chapter 4.
Verse 5 and 6. Would you like to read it?
Absolutely. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man. Is that what your translation says?
Walk in wisdom towards those who are outside.
Is that without wisdom? Walk in wisdom toward them without wisdom?
Walk in wisdom towards those who are outside, redeeming the time. And
Let your speech.
no. Let's just talk about that. Redeeming the time. What does that mean?
To me, it means make that time worth something, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the... It's funny how many people pray like they're at the casino expecting a big payout from the lottery. Anyways, the analogy I was going to use, it's like when you get the coupon at the casino and you take it up to the money window. So let me think of another analogy. Redeeming the time. You know what it's like? It is like when in the military and you're on assignment and you get a small window of R&R, like a week or a few days of time off, you redeem that time. You make it worth as much as possible.
You know what I'm going to do?
Does it involve a bunch of chili you ate last night?
No chili.
Okay, what?
We would not be able to have this moment now if I ate chili. I'm going to look up the word redeem. Because
it means to compensate for the faults or bad aspects of something. Okay, so I don't think that's the definition. To gain or regain possession of something in exchange for payment. I don't think that's the definition either.
I'm waiting for my eSword to load. It's taking a long time.
To fulfill or carry out a pledge or promise.
Wait, okay, so I'm wondering what kind of, are you looking up the Greek translation of the word?
Am I looking up the what translation?
We read in the New Testament, which is...
I am looking at the free dictionary that came with my computer that sometimes does not even have the most basic definition.
Well, that is an excellent source reference.
It is.
Okay, hang on to your pancakes here.
It is because it has...
Oh, hey, oh, it's not far off. Okay, this particular one only occurs 4 times, supposedly, according to Strong's. I haven't gotten that other book yet where it's going to be way better than the Strong's. But
oh, what is that? The brown, what is it? The brown and something?
It's the link that I have it, Wayne, shoot. It's, hang on.
The one that Peretti uses?
Who?
Peretti? Peretti.
Remember the link that I sent you? Actually, like, Buddy from Matt from our group posted it a while back. And I
I'm
needed.
I'm sorry. No.
Okay, I sent it to you,
Apparently,
and I sent
we
a couple
have
videos.
a missing
Listen.
link.
No, I sent you a couple videos and on you know, the Alaf Tav and other things.
Okay.
Right? That
Right.
dude. That dude. Okay, so anyway, because he basically just, you know, definitely exhorted the Strong's Concordance, that where it all started, where it came from, all the people. But like, for instance, this particular word redeeming in Colossians is
Mhm.
only mentioned 4 times in scripture. So it means,
Really?
yeah. So I know that there's more information that isn't available to the Strong's people because to buy up, that is ransom, figuratively to rescue from loss, improve, opportunity, redeem. It is from the word that it's from is excuse me, pardon me. X, primary preposition denoting origin, the point whence motion or action proceeds from out. Okay, wow, okay. Basically, it's an well, I mean, it's an action word. So an action word, redeeming the time.
See, the dictionary that I have says late Middle English in the sense buyback from Old French redimere, or Latin redimere, from meaning re, back, and emere, buy, to buy back.
Yeah, see, so then when it says walk in wisdom towards those who are outside, redeeming the time, get them back. They're on the outside, bring them back. Use wisdom, you know? And then because in verse 6 it says, let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one. So when we think of the word redeeming the time, or the phrase redeeming the time, there's no point in splitting hairs over subjects like, I'm going to boldly say it, like the calendar. Some things are just not necessarily
Edifying.
worth bickering over. You know, we can continue to move forward, gain information, ebb and flow with information as we grow and as we learn, be open to being wrong, being open to hearing information, all of that stuff. So there's no point in saying, I'm right, you're wrong, this is where you should be, because then we're not using wisdom. Wisdom, by this particular definition, is saying, always answer in grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you're supposed to answer. So, I don't know, I think that bringing people into the truth, not just salvation, because lots of people can be rescued onto a boat, but what are they going to do when they're on the boat? Like, they're drowning, and you save them. You are their salvation. You save them. You pull them onto the boat, dripping, soaking wet. Now what? You've saved them. They're not going to die. Their life has been spared. Now what? So I mean, salvation is a very important part of the process, because there's no point to do anything unless a person is saved first, with their meaning, like with their growth. If a person isn't saved, they need to be saved, because then they won't comprehend, they won't understand, they won't receive, because it'll fall on deaf ears, it'll fall on blind eyes.
So isn't that very much the same thing like the Gideons say? You know who I'm talking about? Gideons, like when you go to a hotel room and you pull open the drawer at the bedside table,
Okay.
it says this Bible placed here by the Gideons.
Yeah.
And that, if you've heard them speak before, They are of the practice that when you first meet somebody, the very first words out of your mouth should be, do you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Very first words.
I think that's a bit much.
Because some people you just can't hammer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that it says, like here when it says, what did we just say? Kindness. Was it yesterday? The other day? We were talking about kindness. Speaking with kindness. Or was I reading it?
I don't know.
By myself. With a kind word. Were we not talking about it? We were talking about, like maybe in the group we were talking about it. Like a kind word turns away wrath. Like, okay, now I'm just thinking of those scriptures. Like a kind word can turn away wrath. You know, all of these other things. A kind word can stop something from gaining momentum and turning into a wildfire, right? There's no point in arguing with somebody that there's
Are there
no
people
point
that you can say a kind word to and they just get more mad?
Yeah. So then you say nothing. Like Proverbs talks about it. Psalms. Like, I don't think we really think about this. Like, we want to sit there and beak off and say what we want to say, speaking to the choir, because this is what I used to do all the time. But very beginning of Psalms, Psalms chapter 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Oh no, here we go. I just love all of this stuff. Planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like chaff, which wind drives away. Therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so basically, just there's no point in dealing with someone that isn't prepared to receive love. Love meaning just true affection, like a kind word, like have a beautiful day. Rah, 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 rah. You know, there's just no point. Sometimes we just need to be quiet and wait. We don't know what's happening in the other person's life in that moment. We approach them like the Gideons say, are you, a believer in Yeshua? I think that in that moment, what if they were ready to pull a gun on themselves that night, and that's the last thing that they need to hear? Not the last thing. I'm being dramatic now. That even a fool seems wise if he keeps his mouth shut. So come with wisdom. Proceed with caution, but with purpose. Right? We have these loved ones that we're living with. We have these employers that we're working for. We have, all these opportunities in life where, okay, now I'm hearing the word stealth. We have all these opportunities where we can stealth go in and be a light. For some reason, there's healing when someone hears your voice or just your presence. You sow a seed. I think I said this to me. I think me and Ashley were talking a little bit longer the other day, or we talked another time as well. And I think this is what I was saying to her. But you can live somewhere for years and you wonder why your neighbors come out and scowl at you all the time. But if you keep loving on them and being a true representative, then one day they'll need you because you're consistent. They know that you're always there. You're with a smile. You're not a gossiping fiend, or you're not a bickerer. You don't you know, all of these things that we're not supposed to be. And then one day you'll say hi and they'll say, hey. And then all of a sudden, all those years that you were their neighbor, you planted, it was like you were planting seeds of kindness, of love, of temperance, of patience. All of these things that we don't know that we can be planting. And then when we're ready to have conversation, Colossians 4 can come up. We can approach them that are on the outside with wisdom, seasoned with salt, and be able to say what needs to be said so that they can receive, because Abba prepared them and put you there. You know, anyway, a little bit of, you know, 2 cents. I think that's what I'm going to start calling it.
2 cents?
Gwen's 2 cents.
Gwen's double farthing.
Double what? Double what?
Farthing.
Farthing. Oh.
Right? It's an old English coin measurement. Actually, they probably still use it.
Okay. A
I don't
farthing. All right. I'll receive it.
I had a history teacher in college who was talking about going over to England, and you buy something with this like 5-pound note, and you give it to them, and then they hand you back this handful of coins that make no sense at all whatsoever, and you look at them and it's like, what? Pence, farthing, bit. So they could basically just rip you off as much as they wanted, and you would have no idea. Not that our English friends would do such a thing. Anyways.
I care not to comment. Okay, now I think I know where I was trying to go with that. Well, I mean, where it went, that's where I wanted to go. But I wanted to add relationships, marriage relationships, not giving up, and trusting.
Making the time worthy.
And how do you do that?
Redeeming the time.
And how do you do that? What does that look like?
Well,
in the situation of a marriage that is one-sided.
For me,
okay,
I cook really yummy food.
Okay. Okay. Well, for me, it was
because while they are ensnared with their taste buds captive, you have their time.
Yes. Very good. I think that for me.
Wait, hold on. French moment. Okay. Anyways.
I'm going to get a facial cramp and it's going to be like that forever. No, just kidding. Okay. Well, for me, redeeming the time. I mean, yes. I've been married, a pipe. Redeeming the time. Been married. I think officially this year is 20 years. Maybe I'm on the 19th year or the 20th year.
Wow.
I know.
I had better not ever forget or be unsure about what year I am on.
Anyways, I thought it was last year, 20 years. 19.
So you might be on 21? I don't know, 19, 20, 21.
Whatever. Okay, so what I get, hey Rebecca, what I get is that redeeming the time, the first probably 85% of my marriage, I wasn't doing it right. I think
Well,
that
why in the world didn't you just give up? Don't you realize
Why?
you can get another person somewhere?
okay, are
Get
you
a piece
asking
of
me
paper,
seriously?
just quit.
I have
Just
an excellent
quit.
answer to that. Oh, if you're asking me sincerely, I'd love to go there.
Just stop. You know, it doesn't matter that you say that Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua Messiah is Lord over your life. Wouldn't you rather just kick back in the church pew with somebody you actually don't have to work to love and like? Okay, anyways.
You know, that was a legitimate topic that came up, and I was asked that during really tough times. And the answer is no. I didn't. Like,
Clarify, yeah.
Did I want peace? Did I want it to be easier? Did I want some relief from the thing that I was experiencing? 100%. For a long time. Hang on a second. I gotta like manage my little hooligans. Hang on.
Okay. You now have the Google icon for Jonathan, Senor Playing Flyer 21. While we have
Okay.
the intermission.
I'm back.
The Gwintermission. Okay, go ahead. We are done with our Gwintermission.
Okay, so I didn't want to give up. It wasn't an option.
Uh-huh.
Giving up wasn't an option. So I took my vow. Okay. Yes, I took a vow to my husband, but my vow first was to Abba. Everything that I decided to do after that was based on that decision. Yes, I made a commitment to my husband, but I stayed married to him and stayed committed to him and the journey.
Right.
Because I was committed to my commitment to my Creator. Full stop. It was an absolute decision for me. So during that time frame, it did get to a place where it was thick and intense. And I would say, I guess I have to retract a little bit. I never wanted to divorce. I never wanted to be away from my marriage covenant. There was a time where I wanted to have space, for sure, because I couldn't, hang on, sorry.
This yelling Madre moment has been brought to you by Stealth. Okay, anyways. Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
Okay, so, I don't know. Are you saying you're a mind reader?
No.
Okay, so, I did absolutely wanted to take a break. I did absolutely needed to figure out where my head was at. I definitely wanted to feel like I wanted to put some distance between me and my husband, but not because I wanted to be away from my marriage. It was just a situation that was too hard, or I thought it was too hard. But it did get to a place where my heart's desire, and this is something that I've known for a long time about my relationship with my Father, like my Heavenly Father, is that He does truly answer the desires of my heart. He takes a super long time to reveal to me that He's getting to the deepest desires of my heart. Like, there's a phrase that I always use, and I might have said it before: I want to live above my rights and my liberties. I have the right to do this. I have the right to do that. I have the liberty to do this. I have the liberty to do that. But I want to live above that. And that wanting to live above that is only there because I know that that's supposed to be our goal. And so because I'm aware of that, I'm bound to that principle of it trying to pursue that. For some reason, just for me personally, I'm bound to that. I'm bound to that, like, I'm supposed to live above that. I'm not called to live this, which I'm allowed to. I have the right to live this. I have the liberty to be right here. I have permission to be here and be okay. But I'm not called to be there. We're not called to be there. We're called to be higher than that. But if we can't, whether or not we can see it or not, whether or not we can comprehend it, or whether we're even aware of it, if we're just aware of this, that's totally okay. But for me, for some reason, I've been made aware of the principle of what Yeshua said when he was talking to the people about divorce, right? Yes, he endorsed Moses's statement of blah, 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 blah. But the whole principle, not that I wanted to ever get divorced or ever a marriage issue, just the principle of when Yeshua says, it wasn't that way from the beginning. Inside me, it was like something just clicked. When I first read that a million years ago, it was like, oh, if Yeshua says something about whatever topic it is and says it wasn't that way from the beginning, I want to say, how was it in the beginning? I want my soul to be there. So I strive for that. I strive, and I definitely do a very poor job, for sure. But I can't give up. I'm bound to it. And sometimes it's been my best friend, and sometimes it's been the biggest thorn in my side. But now coming to understanding the truth about Abba's instructions for his people, now I can comprehend way better how to attain it on this side of heaven, how to walk in that way that not that I am doing it perfectly, because I'm not, but I am, like you were saying, be perfect as I am perfect, and I'm amalgamating that into my being. That's the right word.
I did not say that. I
Be
read
perfect.
that.
Oh, not you saying that to me, but you're saying, Yeshua says, be perfect as I am perfect. If you're saying that, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so you need to clarify it for the other humans. Okay, but anyway.
I think that's true. It's very true. And I don't even remember who, but somebody that does public speaking was talking about Western society in general. You know, we have Western society in general has a 50% divorce rate of all marriages. 50%. And then in the Christian church, it's a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher. What does that say about people that are supposed to be, that most likely should take that mantle on themselves and take a serious covenant and just disregard it because it gets hard.
Yes.
Right?
Our classification of hard. I guess that's where I'm trying to get back to. Like, what was difficult. It? Like, what was it? Like, how was I able to? What were we saying earlier? How was I able to? Yours was making a meal. You can cook well, and then influence.
I can also spin yarn.
Okay, well, that's very nice. Anyway, try to get to that point. I can get to a point. The point is that when I backed off and stopped, when I
Okay.
stopped expecting my husband to do or not to do, say or not to say, be or not be anything, it released him from my judgment that I was putting on him unknowingly.
And did it release you from
A million percent.
judgment?
Yes, because ultimately it freed me to hear more. It freed me to comprehend what the soundness of the truth of what the word of Yeshua was saying. It made everything like massively clearer. And also the peace in the home, the expectation, like things didn't change for a long time, but meaning like behavior didn't change, but attitudes did. And then the attitude changed the behavior, because you can change behavior all you want. You can get compliance, but if you
Right.
don't have
Attitude is number one.
yeah. So attitude changed and then behavior changed. So when I just decided to when I decided to just focus on that I am one individual before my creator, and I need to make sure that I'm right, that the log is out of my eye. And so that caused me to stop wanting to go out and speaking so much or pointing out people's faults, or not that I was trying to do that, but I would do that naturally.
I think we all do.
And it just, I had no more desire to go out and try to tell anybody the truth. I wanted to be living in the truth, and that was going to testify. Win them over without a word. I'm telling you, that is such a profound statement. Your neighbor, you can win them over without a word. Person at the grocery store, your wife, your husband, your children. You don't need to say anything to them. Nothing. And except for using wisdom that are on the outside, like Colossians saying, be seasoned with salt. Approach them in kindness and love without it's not your job to tell them what they're doing or not doing. You just do what you're supposed to be doing, and it will change your environment.
Right.
So
in that, it's interesting you said the grocery store too, because that's one of the, I don't know, for some reason this has been like I don't want to say a pet peeve, but it's just something I noticed in that if someone is at the little conveyor trolley thing that you set your groceries on,
yeah,
so the cashier has access to your groceries. Some people, right, and we kind of talked about this before, they're in this little world, don't enter my world, and they don't put the little divider down, right? Or they don't put the divider down, and they like stay as far back from the person in front of them as they can be before they move up. And so if somebody does happen to put the divider down and say, oh no, here, go ahead and put stuff down, I make sure to say thank you. And then I always try to put the divider down for whoever's behind me and say, hello or whatever to the person. Did you brush your teeth today? No, I'm just kidding. Hello, stranger, did you brush your teeth? Because I'm smelling garlic or something. Just say hello or how are you? And
make eye contact.
Right, in that, but it's so strange that, I don't know, that's just an anachronism these days that people even talk to somebody they don't know in public. What, is this person talking to me? What am I doing?
Yeah, I know. And I think also, I always try to get the girls to be very conscious of, especially elders. especially elders.
Do you
If
have a
they're,
lot of Mormons up there?
yes,
Do you?
yeah,
Do
we
they
do.
ride around in pairs with their bicycles and their little white shirt and ties?
Well, not that bad, but they come to the door. But
Do they?
but I
pull
think
out-
that
You pull out your hammer? Okay, anyways.
I should one of these days to see.
Uh-huh.
But I want them to be aware of their surroundings. I want them to be, like I said this before, when we're at the park, I used to do this really consistently. I do it every now and again now, but now they sort of instinctively do it. Where if we go to a park and there's someone in the park and there's not a whole lot of other people, but go and approach someone. Go and approach someone and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. Can we play?
Just make sure they are not wearing a trench coat.
Talking about children.
Oh,
But, or the other,
especially-
I know. But, or the other way around. If we're at the park and someone comes in and they're basically the only people at the park, to go to those people and invite them in so they don't feel like, so I get them, and then I get these people, oh, you homeschool your kids? How are they socialized? And I'm like, gosh, like, I think people's misconception, they have a misconception of what being socialized is. Like, my children know how to say hi. They make eye contact. They're courteous. They're kind, unless you start talking to my youngest one about some other kind of belief or religion, and then she'll hammer you. But ultimately, I make them be aware of who's around them. Number one, for their protection. Number two, so that they can be available for a need.
Right.
So when we're at the store or whatever, I always get them to, because they're always squirreling around and fooling around and running up and down the aisles, and there's people and they're running in front of people, because their world is only this far. This is how big their world is when they're in the grocery store, but it's all their land, right? So I just get them to be consciously aware, open the door, wait, let them go first. And so that when there's somebody on the street, that they'll be available, like, oh, Mom, we need to go and get that person something to eat or something to drink, and, subject them as much as possible to interaction with other people, in spite of whether or not that person's going to respond to them or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, backpedaling now. The divorce, I think, and don't get me wrong, by our father's law, I am divorced, right? I like to play the technicality card with my first wife. Oh no, we didn't have a piece of paper. We didn't have a marriage license, so it doesn't count. No, it did. It most certainly did. I loved her very much, and she was my world, and her family as well. But the point being, though, at the time I thought I was correct in trying tough love, saying, we're halting everything until certain behaviors change. And then when I met my present wife, it was agreed between us that we would stay married except for divorce, or I'm sorry. We would stay married except for divorce. What a stupid statement. All right. Anyways, we would stay married except for adultery or physical abuse. Either direction, right? Because no, I am not getting beat with a garden hose or having a knife pulled on me in the kitchen again. All right. Anyways, and we have abided by that. And to a certain extent, we have both tested that as well. But I think that makes us stronger and binds us tighter to go through these things instead of just starting in, well, you did this, therefore I can't stand you. and I want a divorce. Or when we started going out, when we were dating, you were this person, but now you're that person. Or I'm trying to change you into this person that I wanted you to be before we got married. And it doesn't cut it. What happened in our society, in Western society, that 60 years ago, most couples stayed married. A clear majority stayed married. And then that slowly changed. I mean, it's got lots of contributing factors, right? Feminism, destruction of the family, the war on traditional values, or whatever. That's got a lot of contributing factors, but I think the single biggest one is I'm uncomfortable. I want to be comfortable.
I have the right to be comfortable.
Yeah, I have the right to be comfortable. And, hey, I guess if that's what you have to do after inviting all your friends and family to your wedding to watch you get married, okay. But I think it's worth the effort. It really is worth the effort. It's kind of funny when my mother-in-law passed away. At her memorial service, one of her friends was standing up there talking, and she was talking about one of the last times she had seen my mother-in-law. She went over to my mother-in-law's house, and she was a bit out of sorts. And so she asked her, said, "Well, what have you been doing today, honey?" And she said, "Well, I did not kill my husband today." So it's a victory, right? For every day we don't kill our spouse.
Or our children. That reminds me.
I would never think of that.
Well, no, I'm bringing it up because this woman.
Okay.
I met at the girls' dance when they went to dance. And remember I was asking you about, or I was mentioning about, what are they called? Job's daughters.
Who? Job's?
They're called Job's daughters. It's a kids recruitment. It's an organized group that's rooted in the Messianic area. And anyway, one of her children were trying to recruit my kids for this thing, and I wasn't sure what it was. And then finally I looked at the pamphlet, or the little book that this girl was getting her information from, and how to become a leader of Job's daughters. And then it said, you need to have a connection of Freemasons and be connected this and all this and all of this stuff. And I'm like, no wonder I know I had a check in my spirit beforehand. I kept asking questions and I felt really funny about the answers. But anyway, it's not about that. It's about her asking me questions about homeschooling. How can you be with your kids all day? How I would kill my kids if I was with them all day, And then she would say that all the time, and it was just phenomenal because her kids are right there, some of them. And no comprehension to the phrase that she's saying and the root that it's like the type of seed that it's causing to be planted in the mind and the heart of the person that's hearing it. Like, I'm not worth a fight. If you were with me too much, you would want to kill me. What a great, oh, I'm just kidding. There's no such thing. just whatever. We can, anyway. So I just seen her again the other day. And we ran into the store and the girls recognized her, and she's so friendly. She's a very outgoing woman. She's taken on some children that aren't hers from a really horrible family, and she's raising them. And I think she's got 6 or 8 kids altogether. And she's doing she's doing something maybe I couldn't do, right? But
Right.
in saying that, I'm like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I get a little break. My kids are in school. And I'm like, oh, okay. She goes, yeah, I couldn't do what you're doing. I'd kill my kids. With she has got a loud bellowing voice, and she's just, I'd kill my kids if I was with them all day long. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no comprehension to the privilege that we have as parents.
Of being around our children.
Of being around our kids and what they do. Oh my goodness, do they ever show me how much,
they come up with some doozies.
You know? Yeah. They have taught me, I'm not kidding, we hear that. My kids taught me this, and since my kids this. Imagine being with them all day.
Yeah.
Imagine, ultimately you have kids that don't know how to socially properly connect on the playground.
Right.
And then no one's addressing shame, guilt, bullying, meanness.
Right.
They're not stop bugging so and so. But then there's no process of, do you know what you did? Do you know what that made that person feel? Now you need to say, I'm sorry, forgive me. You need to. All of that sometimes gets exhausting. It does. It really gets exhausting. But when they're young, honest to goodness, we just had to go through something. We had a friend of mine has 2 children, and I won't mention their names, but they are really, really sweet people. We have become really good friends, and we care about them. And she homeschools as well. So they were visiting, and just kids will say things without even thinking that they're being mean, right? Like, Mom, you look squishy like a marshmallow. I want to squish you like a marshmallow. It's okay, stop. The last thing that I want to hear is that I'm squishy like a marshmallow. Thanks, I'm going to the gym, trying to, whatever. Right. But she means it with so much love. Right? And then something got said. One of my kids said something to one of her kids, and it
fight.
It was said twice. First time, my child was not aware that it was hurtful. And it was something about the other person's physical appearance. It wasn't a mean statement. It wasn't something mean. It was like, you look pregnant. So her tummy was just popping out a little bit. She's not overweight. She's totally not. She's a young child. She's just not overweight. She might be, maybe she's celiac. Maybe she's got gluten allergies. She looks fine to me. She totally looks fine to me. But my child says this to her child and doesn't say anything, and it gets said again in the same day. And then there was an apology. My child apologized. But then when the mom got home, she calls me and says, my child doesn't want to see your children ever again.
Oh, boy.
It was said one too many times. Now, this mom was not upset with me or my children, but sort of hurt because of the process, because something similar had happened with that same child with another little child. That child said something to her little girl, and that little girl held on to unforgiveness. And I said, well, this is not acceptable, and I'm not going to leave it undone. I went to the back. I told my kids, and the one that had said it was devastated. She was devastated that it had gone that far, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, we are going to apologize. We went to the store. We bought her a pretty little orchid, one of those mini orchids. a little flower with a card.
Okay.
And we went to her house and we stood at the door and I let them say
Hash it out.
whatever they needed to say. And it wasn't that, like, yes, there was no apology already. The apology was now more for the person that was holding on to unforgiveness and the pain and
Right.
the trauma of that statement. Now we need to convince that person. Now this is where just that morning I read in Genesis about the brothers.
Uh-huh.
About the brothers coming to Egypt. And now they are truly remorseful. They're going to do whatever it takes
Yeah.
to convince their father and to convince, Pharaoh that they're not going to break their father's heart again. They're just not going to do it. They're going to do whatever it takes. And so that's what it made me think of. Like, sometimes we can be sorry. We're not truly repentant. We repent, but sometimes that repentance is not fully releasing that other person. Maybe that other person did have a level of forgiveness, but is still living in a lot of sorrow. So
Right.
then we want to go farther, and we want to prefer our brother. We want to prefer them over our own needs. So I'm okay, but they aren't okay. Are we willing now to sacrifice all that we can for that person's joy, health, wellness, healing, deliverance? Not to the whole world. We pick and choose these people. But I said, you know what? We're going to convince this little person, this little friend of ours that we care about, that she is special and that we love her.
So, talking about a non-thoughtful word or careless word, that my friend was living with his girlfriend, and she was sharing custody of her daughter. And one of the rules of the house was she wasn't supposed to use the DVD player. And so mom and daughter were leaving to go to drop her off at school, drop the daughter off at school. And her dad was going to pick her up after school. So out in the car, she's like, oh, wait, I forgot about my CD. And so she went back into the house, and then she remembered she's not supposed to touch it. So she asked my friend if she could get it. Well, I was standing in the doorway to the room he was in, well, close to the doorway of the room he was in. And the daughter was standing at a vantage point where we could see her, and she could see us, and she could also see the front door. And so, anyways, my friend is saying, did you use the stereo when you weren't supposed to? And she admitted to it. And he said, I really wish you wouldn't do that. So apparently this conversation took too long for the mother. And she came in, and we could see the light from the front door opening. And she yelled her daughter's name and said, "What's wrong with you?" And both my friend and I saw the daughter's face go, twang. Something's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. And, that's probably something that the girlfriend's mom had said to her, 1,000 times or more. And I don't know, it's just, we need to break that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, Senora McKay.
Yes.
You know what I was thinking about?
I'm glad you have thoughts. That's encouraging.
I know, huh? In Luke 24:22, starting at 22. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. And when they found not his body, they came, saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive. And certain of them, which were with us, went to the sepulchre and found it even as the women had said, but him they saw not. Then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken, ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into glory. And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went. And he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it and brake and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight.
Okay, where is that again? Luke what?
24, starting at verse 22. Poof, into thin air. Well, I don't want to say poof into thin air, but
There's lots of stuff in that one, actually.
how did they not recognize him? He was in stealth mode, right? He was invisible to their sight while he was with them, and they had spent so much time with him. And they couldn't recognize him right there. Is your house like, what happened? Cricket?
They're fighting. They're fighting in the bedroom. Well, not fighting.
Uh-huh.
They're like laughing, and then they're crying, and then they're mad at each other, and then they're laughing, and they're crying, and they're mad at each other.
Okay, so like everybody. The condensed version.
Squirrel. It really is.
Well,
Adults do exactly the same thing.
Right.
100%.
Exactly. I know they do. Because I've been both.
You're a professional.
Well, I've legally been an adult for a while now. But everybody still tells me I act like a 5-year-old.
Everybody does?
Well,
I've never said anything like that.
That's because I haven't farted while you're trying to eat dinner in your presence. Okay. Anyways. Then you would say, quit acting like a 5-year-old. Okay. At any rate, think about that. He can be in our very presence, and we don't even know it.
Entertaining angels. Like Jacob said too, like, surely this place was, God was here, and I didn't even know it.
Right. Exactly.
It's so true. Like, I think that when we're more conscious of that, he can see everything, and he can hear everything, and he knows everything beforehand. So yes, it will change what we're about to say when we become more aware that he is paying attention. But I think that, you know, when Peter didn't know what to say, he said, that was me all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I think a part of the reason that many people didn't want to hear what I had to say is because I just kept going on and on. And so one of the things that has changed coming to the truth a year and a half ago, honest to goodness, the fullness of the truth a year and a half ago was that I speak less, honest to goodness. I know it's surprising.
You know, we shouldn't lie, right?
I'm sitting.
Okay, anyways.
Even praying, I used to enter into prayer with this false concept of boldness.
Right.
That I can go before God and say whatever I wanted to say, however I wanted to say it. Now, mind you, I never was mad at him. I never shook my fist at him, and I never said, "Oh, why?" I just never was one of those people.
Right.
Just never was. But I definitely approached him with not as much reverence as I should have. And now speaking a lot less, being different, meaning being unrecognizable to the person that I was before. Like, I couldn't imagine sitting in a room full of people that I was serving with in the church years ago, what they would say. Because surely they would judge me based on what they experienced of me in the past. But I pray that I am changed, that I am unrecognizable, and that the only person that would recognize me is Abba, that I would live my life before him and him alone.
That's all that matters.
It is all that matters.
Okay. Are you going to be here for a minute? Good.
What, do you want me to talk to myself? Wait, who's left? Oh, there's still a few people.
I know.
Lonnie and Rebecca are still in.
Okay.
Go ahead. We forgive you. Go ahead.
I'm going to pray us out. So,
Sure.
Father Abba, we would like you to move in the heart of Moni's husband,
Yeah.
and put them in a position, please, where they are able to provide a good education at home for their children. And just thank you for everything that you have given to us and done for us. And continue to put us where you need us and have us working in that. In Yeshua's name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you, everybody, for coming and spending some time with us. So totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And thank you, Gwen, for tuning in all the way from over yonder there.
But we'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 o'clock.
The center of the flat thing. Okay, what?
Tomorrow, Thursday.
Thursday and la mañana,
Yeah.
11 at 11
No.
your time?
11.
11 your time, 10 my time, which incidentally is 10 California time, unless it's winter, and then it would be 9.
I'm so glad that your eyebrows are as black as they are, because when you move them, it just makes it way better.
It does.
Okay, stop it now. You're going to give me nightmares.
All right. Love you, everybody. We will talk to you soon.
Bye.